After 13 days of sub-zero weather, the sun is shining, the snow is melting, and it's warming up. In this video, I want to show you some things that we learned during the Arctic freeze. Come along with me. First off, I want to welcome everyone back to the channel, and if you're new to the channel, me and my husband have decided that we're going to return to a homestead that we tried to get going 10 years ago and lacked the support. During the course of the last 3 years, when we were living in the RV park and Jay was working in the city, I got to get to know the homesteading group on YouTube. And I gotta tell you guys, it's been such an eye-opening experience for me. We've realized things that we didn't do right the first time could have easily been avoided had we of a support system to lean on. Now we've got good solid Wi-Fi, and I have a whole YouTube family that are helping us to become more self-sustainable. And I want to document my journey. If you all are interested, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Share my videos. It helps to support my channel so that I can continue to bring you videos. You may be wondering what this big black Batman looking thing is in my backyard. Like I said, for 3 years we've been in our camper in an RV park just outside of St. Louis. Never once did we have trouble with freezing pipes. That's because we always kept a heated water hose on our pipes and kept a barrel over the actual water spigot that comes up out of the ground. This year, however, it's colder for longer than I can remember since maybe the ice storm that happened in the early 2000s. And I think it was colder longer than that this time. The wind chills, I've just never seen such a thing. But the heated hose would not withstand that kind of temperature. And I think our lowest temperature was 6 degrees, and the wind chill was just out of control. There's a natural wind tunnel that just blows through here, and we didn't really think about that when we put it in, but we found a solution. Jay went up to the MFA and bought bales of straw, and then he covered these bales of straw in black plastic. So really, this is very warm to the touch. It's insulated the pipe that comes up out of the ground, and we covered, let me see if I can show you. We covered the heated water hose with a layer of straw. Once we did that, we didn't have any more problems after that. And it even got colder still. Sorry about this wind, guys. It's the first day that I've actually had some sunshine, so I ain't bringing you any doom and gloom again. Hopefully it'll be okay. Hopefully my camera's at a right angle. The second problem that we came up with was frozen sewer lines. Now, the sewer pipe runs out of the camper on top of the ground, and he put it in at an angle so that it would always slope down. But for some reason, right up by the camper, the pipes were freezing and you couldn't open or close it. So we had to go get a propane heater, a little tank and a heater, the propane attachment is about this big, and put it underneath the camper. Thank goodness that we insulated the bottom of this camper. If you're going to live in an RV year-round, you definitely want to make sure that you get that insulation around the bottom of the camper. We were able to get that heater under there, heat it up, and thaw it out. We didn't have no problems after that. When you are in the wintertime in the camper, make sure that you keep your traps shut. Don't leave them open. And I think that's how we got frozen up to begin with. We left them open, and just the cold air rushed back up the pipe right up to where that fitting was. Make sure you always keep your drain lines closed and go out and empty them during the winter. Don't leave them open. The farmhouse had issues with their drains, with its drains too, and the farmhouse is on a gray water system. It just goes out and fertilizes the field. We have a septic tank that catches all of the toilet stool waste, but all the rest of the water is gray water, and it fertilizes. I have mint, and I have blackberries that I planted during our first go around that does really, really well where that gray water comes out of the house. But the pipes got covered with ice, then they got covered with snow, and they froze solid. And the bathtub wouldn't drain out. There's a drip in the shower at the farmhouse, and it just built up, stopped up the pipe. So I had the idea, this is all PVC pipe that runs right out and right onto the ground. I had the idea that I could put the chemical salt that you use for steps down the pipe, and it actually worked. There was enough water in there that it activated it and it defrosted it, and we didn't have no more problems with that. So if you have a gray water line, I don't know that you would want to put that in a septic tank, but if you have a gray water line like we do, you can use that, and it worked for us. Something else that we learned during the Arctic freeze is that the grid being down is a very real thing. We didn't lose our power, but some people up in the town that I'm in lost theirs for I think 2 or 3 hours, and it was brutally cold, guys. A lot of people's pipes got frozen up, and the poor people in Texas, everyone say a prayer for them. I do have friends that are down there and family that are dealing with that, and it's been quite an ordeal. My brother-in-law said that he had to drive 30 miles, and he lives in a town, but he had to drive 30 miles to find a gas station that had a generator that could pump gas, and he could take it back to his house. So guys, the grid going down, it's not just some prepper freak out thing. It's a very real thing. We are built on a very fragile system, and you need to think about the things that you can do during these situations. This can happen in the summertime too. So just a thought in mind. We were not worried. We have a generator and we have gas and we had it on hand. But one thing that we didn't realize was that the generator may not start in freezing weather. Fortunately, Jay went out and tried to start it. We like I said, we never did lose power, but he hurried up out there and tried to start it and realized it wouldn't start. So he ran to town to get a can of starting fluid, and it popped right off. It's a brand new generator, and there was no other reason other than it was just frozen up in there somewhere. So that's another tip to y'all. If you are counting on your generator for electricity during the very, very cold, you might want to grab a can of starting fluid so that you have that on hand in case you need it. You know, one of the biggest lessons that I learned during these past couple of weeks is to calm down. When we lost water, we did have our holding tanks full. I think I told you guys about that in the last video, that we had filled up our holding tank. We had 30 gallons of water at our disposal, and I was panicked. I was like, we've got to get these water lines unfrozen. The truth is, we probably had enough water in that storage tank to last us until the pipes actually thawed out again. My husband, though, he was in a really hurry to get that fixed, because if your lines do freeze up, the longer you let them go, the more chance you have of them being busted when it does thaw out. So, but my panic was having water, and I have stored water. There's special water that I store in soda bottles. There's a place right there beside the RV toilet that fits the 7-Up 2-liter bottles, and I've got them surrounding the toilet there. So we have at least 6 good flushes of water right there. The thing is, I had forgotten about it. I had forgotten that I had the 30 gallons in the water tank. I had forgotten that I had the water stored up, even drinking water stored up. I just panicked. It doesn't do you no good to prepare if you can't remember what you did to prepare with. But I need to start thinking more along the lines. It's a mind frame. You have to get in the mind frame, because even if you have prepared and you can't remember, because you're not in a survival mind frame all the time. It truly was a good test for us, a good quick run-through test, and it really drove home the fact, I think, to my husband, that what we're doing is the correct thing. We are doing what we need to do. We need to be able to self-sustain should it turn Arctic on us, freeze every line. We need to be able to have systems put in place that are going to carry us through that. And 2 weeks, that's a long time. 2 weeks is a long time to try to wait it out. So you want to have some systems in place. Same thing with the sewer. I was fretting about doing my dishes. How was I going to get the water to go out, You know, how is it going to go down the drain? How long do I have before my gray tank is full? We have 2 gray tanks on the camper. I didn't have, and of course, as usual, the gauges that show you how full they are have never worked since we own the camper. And honestly, I've never had a brand new camper, but I've had some pretty new ones, and they've never been reliable. So we really didn't know how much time we had before our tanks would be full. And I halted. I panicked. I couldn't do no dishes or anything. About 30 minutes after he got the sewer unthawed and drained, I realized, you dummy, you just put a pan of water in the sink to wash your dishes and toss it out the door when you're done. It's these things. We're not used to it, and it doesn't come natural for us to think in survival mode. And this is something that I want to get better at. One thing that me and hubby had done just before we come home in the fall was go down and buy heavy duty, very warm clothing, coveralls, coats, gloves, hats, just to make sure that we stayed warm. I knew I was going to be having the chickens, and I knew that I would be having to carry water, so I wanted to make sure that I had good warm clothes to get back and forth. But let me tell you something, it's not just here in Missouri or the people up north. Even in Texas, you need to have some good warm clothes. Even in the warm states, the states that never have snow and never have weather like this, you still need to have some warm clothes. You may not take them out for 10 years in a row, but at least you have them, at least you're going to be prepared. Warm clothes are a very, very important thing during a grid down situation in an Arctic blast. You just had one, and we're probably going to have it again. Now, the final thing I want to tell you, I learned, is do not, no matter how tempted that you might be, do not put your eggs in your coat pocket to bring them back. Inevitably, you will get distracted, forget that they are in there, and I'm telling you, it's a mess. Just don't do it. Take a bucket. Just take a bucket. Remember, Dee, take a bucket. Well, guys, I think that's all for today. I'm sure I've missed lots of things that we learned during this past 2 weeks. It's just really hard to get it all in, remember it, and get it back out. Find a time when you can record. And, you know, I didn't want to come out. First of all, during this whole time, I could not record outside of the camper because my camera instantly froze up and it refused to work. I would have to take the batteries out, take them in, recharge them in order to get my camera to work inside the camera. As this snow's melting, I'm looking around and I'm getting so excited because there's signs of life everywhere. Spring is coming, guys. It's coming, I'm telling you, and it's coming soon. In my next video, I should be having new arrivals hatching. Hopefully I can catch that on camera and show you how my olive eggers are doing and how Moran eggs are doing in the new incubator that I got. There's plenty to keep me busy, and now that I can get outside and get some of these things done, I'm chomping at the bit to go. But patience is necessary when you're on a homestead, and I gotta remember that. Okay guys, I'm wrapping it up now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so that you get notifications when I put out new videos, and share my video. Maybe someone you know would be interested in my journey. Until next time, love and peace to everyone.